Good evening and welcome to Sports Plus. Tonight we'll hear from Brady Cook after Mizzou's season-altering loss to South Carolina and tell the story of a jockey defying the odds. But first we turn to the Blues. After a thrilling overtime victory last night in Boston, the Note made their way down to North Carolina for a matinee matchup with the Hurricanes. So for tonight's main event, we head down to Raleigh for a battle between the Blues and those Hurricanes. Drew Bannister and Rod the Bod Brindamore on the opposing benches tonight. Blues strike first. Great play from Jordan Kyrou in the offensive zone. He sticks with the puck, gets it to Jake Neighbors, who finishes it off. 1-0 Blues. That was about all the good news tonight, though. Andrei Svechnikov tied things with time winding down in the first, and the Canes just kept pouring it on Joel Hofer and net. Eric Robinson scored to make it 2-1. Carolina goes on to win 4-1. SLU men's soccer played Dayton for the A10 championship on Sunday. Look at that bracket. They made it to the title game as a 6th seed. Huge moment in the first half. SLU's Carlos Leatherman gets called for a red card, and the Bills are down a man for the rest of the game. Dayton capitalized. Felix Ballbang scored twice, and Flyers added one more to win 3-0. We'll wait and see if SLU gets an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Monday, it's the big one at Energizer Park. Local boys Tim Ream and Patrick Schulte and U.S. men's national team against Jamaica in the second leg of the CONCACAF Nations League quarterfinals. It's the first competitive game on U.S. soil for new head coach Mauricio Pochettino, and he knows what the expectations are going forward.
We are USA, and we need to perform and we need to win games. That is our culture. I think I understood after few days or few weeks or few months. I understand that the culture here is about to win.
Saturday's heartbreaker officially ended any thoughts Mizzou football had about making the college football playoff. But with 2 games left in the regular season, this year is far from over. I talked it over with QB1 Brady Cook in this week's Sunday Night Quarterback.
Sunday Night Quarterback is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
Brady, let's start off with the fact that you even played in this game yesterday at all. What was the process like getting healthy enough to play? How much of a true game time decision was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long couple of weeks. I can say that. Really, as far as the physical side goes, it really started versus Auburn with the ankle, and obviously carried over into Bama with the wrist injury, and from that moment, it's been a grind. A lot of long hours. It's really a day-to-day thing, and it's we treat what I have going on every single day, and we reevaluate. And game time decision's pretty accurate. It's one of those things where you're limited in practice all week. You can't do too much during the week as far as you're really just trying to get better, not have any setbacks. You're not trying to overdo it. And then it's, hey, Friday, Saturday, how do you feel? Where are you at?
Certainly not the ending you guys wanted yesterday, but a tremendous amount of fight once again, down 21-6 at halftime. You guys come all the way back. We've seen this kind of fight before this season, though. Vandy, Auburn, Oklahoma. What would you say really ignites the second half fight for this team?
Yeah, I mean, you could just see the grit this team has, just a stubborn refusal to quit. We're not quitters. We came in at halftime, and immediately I could just feel the energy in the locker room. Guys were up, guys were talking, the coaches were pumping us up. There was a good energy, and that's when I knew, yeah, I mean, we're not going to lay down.
The touchdown pass to Luther on 4th down, even though it came in a loss. When Mizzou fans think back on both of your careers here, I think they're going to remember that moment. How did you see that play?
Yeah, it's definitely one of those I'm not going to forget. I texted Luther when we got on the plane last night. I said, hey, that's one we're going to remember forever. Love you 3. And, I know he was excited and disappointed at the same time, too. And, it was 4th down, 4th and 5, I think. And we had a concept called, and I actually checked the route to Luther and gave him the one-on-one fade opportunity. And it was press coverage. He ran a great route. And he just showed a late hand with his left hand, and it, I dropped it in the bucket for him. And I mean, unbelievable play, unbelievable catch. He cut back, stayed in bounds, scored, did the spin, the whole deal. And man, we were fired up. That was a really cool moment. And I'm sure all of us on the team aren't gonna forget that.
Is it really a helpless feeling watching that final drive for South Carolina as a quarterback on the sideline, kind of unable to do anything about it? Take me through that moment from your perspective.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think that's a good word to describe it. But that's how a team works. You know, the offense does their job and the defense does theirs, and you got to trust. You got to trust each other. And I had full confidence in the defense, and I still do. And it's just one of those things. You know, it just didn't go our way.
You talked passionately last night in the postgame about wanting to finish this season. 2 games left in the regular season. How are you personally approaching what's left of this year, and what's your message to your teammates about finishing this off the right way?
Yeah, you know, I think first just enjoy it. You know, we've got 2 regular season games left in the SEC, and it's crazy to think about. This year's flown by, and they're 2 big opportunities. You know, let's finish the right way. Let's go on a 2-game winning streak to finish the season, get to 9 wins, and then let's see where we land in a bowl. And just by the looks of it, you know, I know we're going to get matched up in some cool bowl with a great opponent, and it's going to be another cool opportunity. So there's still a lot to play for. There's still a lot of football left in 2024, and I'm just going to make sure the guys are ready to go this week, have the right mindset.
Coming up, the story of one woman's determination and her 40-year journey to 100 wins on horseback. We're back after the break. In sports, you often hear the phrase, "You can't beat Father Time." Well, one Collinsville woman begs to differ, and she has the wins to prove it. With the help of photographer Randy Schwenker, we bring you the jockey journey of Kim Sampson. On race day at FanDuel Sportsbook and horse racing, the eyes are naturally on the thoroughbreds. But when this woman is on a horse, the eyes should also be on her. This is Collinsville native Kim Sampson, and her jockey story is one wild ride.
And I'd always see in McDonald's, they had a display of the horses, and Diane Danford was the rider that was riding back then. But it was, I mean, I was 16 years old. I didn't think there was any shot, you know, it was just kind of, oh, one of them little fairy tale dreams like you're watching, you know, cowboy shows or whatever.
Kim's childhood dream became a reality when she met trainer Jerry Sampson and ended up gaining more than an opportunity to ride competitively. She gained a husband.
Probably about 1.5 years after I was working for him, we was married. I was younger than he was, so much younger. And then once Mom and Dad found out about it, they was trying to put the skids to it, but.
When she first started, Sampson was a trailblazer, although it didn't exactly start so smoothly.
The first race out, they booed me. My horse charged the gate, and he was a speed horse. He charged the gate and come back, and we got out bad. And the crowd just, they booed me. They booed me terrible.
Her third race on that first day went better, though, where she notched her first ever trip to the winner's circle and began getting respect as a woman in a male-dominated sport.
As long as you work hard, then you get accepted in a sense, and that's where back riding races, I think a lot of them didn't accept me, but as long as I was riding sound, riding good, wasn't causing wrecks out on the track, you know.
But she's nothing if not humble. When did you realize this was something, hey, not only do I like doing this, I'm really good at this?
Never. Never, I don't think.
It wasn't just on the track where Sampson was proving she could keep up with the men either.
I was an iron worker for Local 392 out of East St. Louis. I worked 28 years in the iron workers, and I was tying rebar the first 5 years. All I was bent over on a bridge deck, but I was stout from galloping these horses. Everybody said the iron worker made you strong for the horses. I said no, the horses made me strong for the iron work. But at least back then you couldn't see me. I was down riding. I looked better on a horse back then.
In 1983, Sampson walked away from the horses to focus on her family, but the passion never left.
I always felt like I wanted to come back, and I always felt like I was doing better than people gave me credit for.
And in 2022, she returned after nearly 4 decades away.
Well, when I quit riding at the end of October, and I took it from my last win, because I think the meet ended shortly after that, within a week. And I won the 6th race back that I rode in 22, and it was 38 years and 180 days. So nobody comes back at 62 years old and goes riding races.
Now she's 65, and just completed a truly amazing feat at Fairmount.
But it's African Warrior, an upset special. At 35-1, Kim Sampson with a riding double.
That was win number 100 for Kim's career, spread over more than 40 years.
Any other ladies that rode races at 65, I don't know, let alone any of them won 2 in one day, 2 long shots in one day. So we're in the winter, so it still really never even hit me emotionally till I got back in the jocks room, and then the tears hit. Yeah.
And if her late husband could see her now, still winning at 65, there would likely be some more tears.
He would be proud. He would, yeah. He would be proud. Tears would flow.
She's not certain if the 100th win will be her last.
I got somebody that keeps trying to talk me into it for next year. If it's meant to be, I'll be back, and if it ain't, then I'll be gone fishing or something. I don't know.
But if Sampson really has seen her final run at Fairmount, it was a career of trailblazing and perseverance.
In any career, if you don't have the work ethic, you gotta keep pushing forward. You don't know what life's gonna throw at you, but as long as you keep working at things, you can make it. Nothing's impossible if you just keep going for it.
This Sports Plus conversation is sponsored by your Quality Ford dealers. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 47 years.
Between the Mizzou season winding down, the Blues season heating up, and the continued Cardinals off-season speculation, it's a busy time in the world of St. Louis sports. So I sat down with someone to cover it all. My chat with Brooke Grimsley is tonight's Sunday Conversation. Well, you've seen her talk sports on St. Louis TV. You've heard her talk sports on St. Louis radio. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Brooke Grimsley to the program tonight. Sports Plus, first time. How's it feel?
Well, this definitely feels different. Thank you so much for having me on, Corey. This is such a pleasure to be able to speak to you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. Let's start with the hot topic. Mizzou football, devastating loss yesterday to South Carolina. Those college football playoff dreams all but dead. What do you take from the rest of this season, though?
Well, I think it's a little bit hard because if you're a Mizzou fan waking up this morning, you're thinking, wow, okay, the playoff dreams, that is completely out of the question now. But I know it's hard to turn the page and think about what's next for this program and how much this program has grown. But I think that's what you have to do as a Mizzou fan. And Corey, I know that you've been a lifelong Mizzou fan. You also went to Mizzou, so I'm sure you have a lot of feelings on this. But just think about 2 years ago where this program was, right? They had lost to a top 10 ranked Tennessee team at the time. And then after that, I think that's when things really changed for the program and things under Eli Drinkwitz, because they went on in 26 games to win 20 of them, including beating Tennessee in 2023, and then also a Cotton Bowl victory along the way. If you think about that as a Mizzou fan, and you've seen a lot, Corey, as a Mizzou fan, about the progression that this team has had under Eli Drinkwitz, I think that shows the growth. They still have a chance to close out this season strong. They have a chance to go to another great bowl game and hopefully do well there.
Let's switch, talk a little bit of Blues here. One night they're fun and scrappy. The other night they're getting blown out. A lot of injuries. What do you make of this team? What should fans expect the rest of this year? What's reasonable?
I think it's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster of expectations, right? Because the ownership group and Doug Armstrong, they have been very transparent that they're going with a youth movement. Doug Armstrong has talked about that for several years now. He was looking for younger players under 30, and he's been doing that. He's somebody who, if he says it, his actions will match up with his words. And so I didn't really have high expectations. Then you had this offseason where you had the aggressive move of the offer sheet, something that really woke up the rest of the NHL of like, wait a minute, we can do this? This never really happens that often in the NHL, and it ruffled some feathers, but those offer sheets has really worked out for this team. Dylan Holloway, I know that Broberg is dealing with an injury right now, but when he was on the ice, he was already impactful for this team, and those are two really young, talented players. So you have the injuries right now with Robert Thomas, a huge missing piece for this team, other injuries as well. And I think one thing, even though sometimes they lose and then they have a really good game the next one, it's kind of back and forth between that. I'm just kind of tempering my expectations because I believe in the competitive retool that Doug Armstrong is working for, and also that he's handing over to Alexander Steen.
Finally, the Cardinals. It's St. Louis, so the Cardinals are always a hot topic, especially right now. What do you make of this refresh, rebranding they're going with?
It's kind of interesting because it's almost like what the Blues were doing, right? When you're talking about a competitive retool, I think that's what the Cardinals are doing. They're saying that payroll is going down, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially with how much we have seen the Cardinals spend in payroll, but it not exactly pan out. You've seen the Padres last season, their payroll went down. It actually worked out well with them, and so they're going with this full youth movement. Now, I'm still curious, though, in this offseason, if the actions will match the words, because you say that you're going with the youth movement. Okay, it's time to start moving some of these guys. Will Nolan Arenado stay? Will Ryan Helsley stay? I think with Ryan Helsley, obviously a huge part of the Cardinals bullpen. Just think about how bad the record would have been this past season if you didn't have Ryan Helsley as your shutdown closer with what he's been able to do. And it's painful to move on from him, but his value is higher than it's ever been right now. Why not see what you can get for Ryan Helsley?
Brooke, thanks for coming in. We will be back with more Sports Plus. NFL action Sunday. Andy Reid and the Chiefs trying to stay unbeaten against the Bills in Buffalo. Bills up by 2 early in the 4th. Josh Allen beats the blitz and finds Curtis Samuel. Samuel does the rest. There's a little addition for Dance Fever as he celebrates in the end zone. Bills up by 9, but by no means in control. That's because Patrick Mahomes had time. That's a scary sentence right there. He led the Chiefs downfield, hits Noah Gray for the score. The lead was 2, and it's where I thought the Chiefs were poised to do it again, but not so fast. 4th and 2, Buffalo passes up the easy field goal, and it was a good choice. Allen will put it on his own shoulders as he takes it 26 yards for the score. The unbeatens have all been beaten now. Bills win 30-21. Reports say Jacksonville coach Doug Peterson will be fired heading into their bye week tomorrow. The Detroit Lions say, "Can we help you pack?" The Lions showed no let-up against the Jags. Jamison Williams motors 64 yards with the pass. He does his best Marshawn Lynch impression, celebrate. 4 catches, 124 yards for J-Mo. Sam Laporta sat out the game with a shoulder injury, but it didn't matter. Brock Wright scored a touchdown in his place as the Lions win 52-6. The worst loss in Jags history and the 14th loss in their last 17 games. Steelers and Ravens game was decided by field goals. Justin Tucker, the most accurate kicker in NFL history over his career, missed 2 out of 3. He's 90% for his career. Chris Boswell, on the other hand, made 6 for the Steelers, 3 of them 50 yards and longer. The Ravens scored late to get within 2, so they went for the deuce. Lamar Jackson cannot convert it, though. Steelers win 18-16. They are now 8-2. Time now for the Victory Men's Health, frankly speaking, and a thought about Mizzou football. Yes, Saturday's loss to South Carolina felt like the end of the season in a number of ways. The dreams of being in the college football 12-team playoff are gone. However, if the Tigers finish strong, it will be a 9-3 regular season and perhaps a 10-3 season with a bowl game victory. And that will be considered a bad season. Think about that for a second. If Missouri is in a place where 9 wins in a regular season is a disappointment, things aren't really so bad. Yes, I'd love to see a next step as much as the next person, but if Eli Drinkwitz has established a culture where double-digit win seasons are the standard, I think that's something to embrace. That's our show for tonight. For producer Andy Moeller, I am Corey Miller. Have a great night, St. Louis.